Okay, so this is day 2 of 3-section staff training. I'm displaying this so you can observe what it's like when a genius learns something for the first time. We don't know everything as geniuses, but we do know how to know everything. So the 3-section staff is the coolest of any weapon ever. And so the basic strike with it, it's pretty much like a nunchuck. Right? So you have a flail, and you go. And the speed of this flail is dependent on the whip and the rotation of the wrist, basically. And so it's really big, so it's actually hard to get a really good wrist flick on it. I need to have stronger wrists, but luckily I have this tail at the end. And so if you actually feel the whole system, you can use the butt to yank on the end of the staff and get it to fulcrum at your grip. And it's a pretty cool way of generating power. And as you practice it, you should see all sorts of different parallels between kicking, punching, even jumping. Because your body is the same way. You can have a fulcrum, and then you can activate or fire or move that fulcrum, and just get tremendous output out of your kicks and your jumps and stuff like that. But you have to sense the body correctly. You have to see that the system is kind of like a 3-section staff, and then just be fascinated with that movement mechanic, because if you're going to use it in real life, like if you're going to use it to jump, or you're going to use it to hit with, or whatever, or throw, you have to be able to do this as if it's second nature. Right? I have to think a lot about like yanking on this thing in the correct direction to get that power output. And then I also have to think about what am I going to do with all that extra energy that I just did, especially if it doesn't go into somebody. The staff whips around, and so if I get it just casually, I can. This is letting me like swing this thing really, really hard, just with like a basic coordination pattern. So that's super cool, right? And then ultimately it's also just a whip. Or it could just be like a beat stick, you know. I've never looked at what people do with these, to be honest. Like, I literally know nothing of how you would progress with it, but I notice like things that pop out. If you look at something, if you want to understand it, look at its utility, look at its purpose. Look at the purpose of something. And so this thing's purpose is to like smack somebody, right? So then you got to look at, well, how does it help me smack? Could I use this as like a normal, like a schema, or so whatever this stick's called? Not really, I don't know, maybe. Yeah, it's like having a simple machine, like a little catapult for a weapon. And there's probably all sorts of other techniques with it. It's just so complex. It's like, yeah, totally different behavior depending on how much you choke up on it. Like a lot of options if you have this way down here, but not as immediately as obvious as if it's choked up and you're just kind of yanking on the bottom. If you get it really close, it's the exact same thing as just two-handed wielding something. And then you go here, and it's two-handed, but with a little bit of pizzazz. Yeah, wow, there's so much there. Legitimately probably the coolest object I've ever played with, besides a mop. A mop would be a stick with a chunk of water at the end of it. I think a really cool object would be a stick with like a globe of water at the end of it, but that would be hard to make. So like a mop is like the next best thing.